I got a guess is what I just told you. I'm going to call him in. He just wrote in on a card. He's sitting down there in Palo Alto, California, the Silicon Valley capital. Victor Davis Hanson, you know him. Today, an updated version of his book, The Case for Trump, comes on out. So Mr. Hanson's making the rounds. We're happy to have him. So you know this woman as well as anybody because you live in California and you've watched her from DA in San Francisco rise up to now a presidential candidate. And I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Vice President Harris would like to turn the United States into California. That's her model. Am I wrong?
No, you're right on target, Bill. And you're also on target about the selection historically of Governor Walz. We've never seen it. Even, Bill Clinton picked Al Gore in the days when Al Gore was considered a Southern Democrat before he kind of lost his mind. And we remember John Kerry picked Lieberman, who was to the right of him. And they all do that. Even McGovern picked Sergeant Shriver. He had to, but before that it was Eagleton who had to step down. So I don't think, and even Hillary picked Tim Kaine, who was to the right of her. So we've never seen a left-wing candidate, as you said, this far left, but we've never seen somebody almost inexplicably, and you gave reasons why she did, but it still seems inexplicable that she would pick someone that would emphasize that she's out of touch with the American people. And I think it shows you that they have confidence in a paradigm that worked in 2020 with Joe Biden. They outraised Trump 3-1, 3.5-1, maybe. They think they can do that again. They kept Biden, who was cognitively challenged, in the basement. They think that she's linguistically challenged, and you're right about that. They're not going to give her an occasion to reveal that. They're confident that they changed the voting laws in the swing states, so 70% of the voters will not be voting on Election Day, majority of them Democrats. And then they feel that they repackaged Joe Biden into a moderate. That's going to be harder, as you point out, given her record, but they're going to try to do it. And they have an advantage because this is dumped on us. She hasn't been a candidate. She's never won a primary. She's never won a delegate. We only have 90 days left. And you made another good point about Donald Trump. He doesn't have a minute, an hour, a day to get off message about what you just talked about. He's got to drill home. Do you really want to have this woman do to the United States what she did to California? She's hard left. Her running mate is as hard left. We've never been in this territory. Here are her positions. And he doesn't have time to go after Kemp or the Attorney General of Georgia or the DNA of Kamala Harris. But he has a rich target, but he doesn't have much time to get her out and let her talk, because to let her talk is to turn people off. And he's got to find a way to do that.
All right, but he still makes mistakes almost on a daily basis in his rallies.
Yes.
And you would think, look, it's not like, Professor, that Donald Trump is a dumb man. He's not. He's a brilliant man. I've known him for 32 years. And he can absorb information fairly quickly. And he understands big picture. He's not like you and me. He doesn't research and he doesn't have a frame of reference that because we've devoted our life to studying the country and the world in a historical sense. He doesn't have that. But when presented with information, he can absorb it, and he's articulate enough to get it out. But he doesn't seem to be able to control himself. And that's what the Democrats are banking on, that he will continue to do this kind of Kemp stuff, election of 2020 stuff, until the end. And that'll be enough to give it to Kamala.
Yeah, I think what they're thinking is, and I think what Trump is thinking, he felt that after the debate meltdown with Biden and then the panic in which at one point he was 8 poll ahead, and then the conventional wisdom that Biden was still going to be the candidate because the left had admitted they had a Spiro Agnew type of vice president that had saved Nixon for a while. And then when they forced Biden out and they put in Harris, everybody thought this was going to be even worse, but it wasn't, because of the money that came in and the keeping her secluded. And I don't think Donald Trump has has shifted gears yet. He still thinks he's in the lead. He still thinks it's valuable to say how bad Biden did in the debate, how bad Biden was, how bad is, but he hasn't shifted gears to realize that Biden is irrelevant now.
Do you think he
And to the
can
degree that
shift gears, Professor? Do you
I
think
think
he
he can.
You do? Okay.
I think you've talked to the people around him, Bill. You know that if you were to compare them to the 2016 and 2020 casts, they're a lot more polished, they're more professional. And when you said they're worried, or they are. I have talked to some of them too, and
Oh yeah,
they
they're
know
worried.
they know exactly what he has to do, and they've told him exactly what he has to do, and they've told him that if he doesn't do it,
You're
he's
gonna
going
lose.
to allow. We're going to lose because we've
Yeah.
never been in this territory. We've never had anybody this left wing, and they may, if they win the Senate and the House with her,
Oh.
then I'm not very confident for what's going to happen to us. I think
Well,
it's
that
going to be
brings
a
me to my
disaster.
next question. So you got a lot of billionaire money, and we have been investigating, and we put the people up. Reed Hastings, Lincoln, a lot of billionaire money coming behind Kamala Harris. Do these people not know that if this far left cabal gets power, congressional and executive power, that a wealth tax is coming? And they're going to seize private property. They're going to seize what these billionaires have in a big way. Do they don't care about that? So why do they keep funding the far left candidates?
They do because they feel so far they've never been subject to the consequences of their left-wing ideology. If you're a Mark Zuckerberg or you're Reid Hoffman or the Google people, they always feel that they can virtue signal about the wonders of teachers' unions. Their kids are in private school. How we need 30 kilowatt, 30 cents a kilowatt power in California, but they live on a cool coast and they have enough money, they don't care. And that goes down the line on every issue. On fracking, that everybody's going to drive an EV semi truck and charge up every 2 hours, but they're going to fly their Gulfstreams or be met at the air. That's how they think, and they don't think in their wildest dreams that these left-wing politicians that they think they bought and owned will ever be able to impinge on their lifestyle. They may raise taxes. They like that, because they really despise the upper middle class, professional classes, and middle class. They see them as trying to aspire to where they are, or something like that. And I just don't think they feel that they're in danger. Some of them do. People like Elon Musk understands that these people are basically socialists. But even if they weren't socialists, we owe $37 trillion almost in debt. It's a $1.2 trillion a year to service it. Historically, when you get in that situation of 130% GDP that you owe, you either inflate the currency to pay it back, or you cancel the debt. And we saw a little bit of that with Obama when you remember that, Bill, he reversed the order of the creditors on those that car deal.
Yeah, there are games you can play.
Yeah, but I don't.
It's going to come, right. You can't postpone Armageddon.
No, you can't.
You can't.
And I think and I think you're right about confiscation, because they floated it before. They said they have
the only way to do it is to take private property from those who are wealthy. That's the only way to do it, because they wouldn't drill in Anwar and then use the profits to pay down a debt, which is a way you could do it, but they won't do it because the polar bears might be upset, or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
All right.
They said that. They have said that. Kamala Harris has said that.
Because you wrote the book. Because you wrote the book on Trump. When he selected J.D. Vance, I was agnostic about it. I mean, I know him. I don't know him personally, Vance. Never met him. But I know Hillbilly Elegy, and I know what he campaigned on. And I was agnostic about it, because you give the candidates a little room to select people they feel comfortable with. But now we're 3 weeks in. I don't see him as being a plus right now, Vance. Maybe he will emerge as one. How do you see it?
Well, I saw it when he did it for taking a hit, because I've known him and I've met him and I like him. I thought there would be a bad 3 to 4 weeks, because when he came out of the hillbilly elegy, he was ebullition. And by the way, the people who really welcomed him were the left, because they said this is an authentic voice of the working class white Americans, and he's telling us how pathological they are. And until he got turned off by those people who he wasn't comfortable, they welcomed him. So he said things, as you remember, when he's in his mid-30s about Trump and MAGA and all that, that was going to be very problematic. So I was aware of that. And then he's a white male and he's a MAGA, so he's sort of like Waltz and Harris, and he duplicates Trump. But then I thought, well, once they clear that out, there are some assets, and there are a lot of them. He's, of all the people, I think, under 50 in the Republican Party, he's the best adept at repartee, interviews, extempore talk in a way that nobody, like Harris couldn't do that, Waltz couldn't. So if he's out there every day challenging reporters, taking questions, explaining what Trump is doing, and that's a plus. And then,
all right, well, I hope he comes on here, because so far we're not making a lot of progress. Yeah, I mean, it's almost inexplicable. Last question for you. We want people to read your book, even if they don't support Donald Trump. Because your arguments, and I've said this on the air when you're not involved, that I think you're the one of the few columnists that are better than I am. I mean, I hate to admit that, but you back up what you say, and I try to do that too. I mean, it's not ideological gibberish. It's here's how I see it. This is why I see it, and that's most valuable. So the case for Trump, I want you to nail down in about a minute. What is the biggest thing why people should vote for Trump?
Well, he is unattached to the vested interest. He may have vested interests of his own, but they are not the administrative state in Washington, New York, or Silicon Valley. So he comes in there with an adversarial point of view. The downside was he didn't have anybody supporting him in either party. He was inexperienced. This time around, hopefully, he will have that combative idea, and he understands that the real problem in this country is the unelected. We've got 2 or 3 million people working for the federal and state governments, and they're not elected, and they control our lives in the EPA, IRS, CIA, Pentagon. And they destroyed his first administration. If you think of the Mueller investigation, they probably hurt him in his re-election with the laptop disinformation and all that. And he understands that. I don't know of a lot of Republicans who say we've got to address the administrative state. The other thing is almost everything I support, but the big thing he's going to have to deal with is the debt. And so far he hasn't done that. And I think he could very easily.
Well, the Anwar thing alone. The Anwar thing alone would generate trillions of dollars over 10 years to pay down that debt. And all that is, right.
Yeah,
it's not complicated. You sell that oil on the world market, and that means that weakens Russia right there, okay? It weakens OPEC, and then the profits all go, because it's federal land, all go to paying the debt down. That's it.
It's what he's talked about that, and so that's. I think he's the only person. And the other thing is he has
the other side's never going to do it.
Yeah,
right.
No, he has a Reagan streak, and he's upbeat. It's not what we can't do, we shouldn't do, we can't do this. It's we're going to do this, and we're going to try this, and we're going to. So that's reassuring that there's somebody who says we're not through yet.
But believe me when I tell you, Reagan listened to his advisors, probably too much, because Reagan was not Trump, different drummer and all that. So anyway,
you got to remember, Bill, you know better than I that phrase, let Reagan be Reagan. Remember that?
Right. Well, Trump would be smart to look back at Reagan, and particularly in the debates and things like that. Reagan listened to his people. Anyway, we wish you're welcome anytime on this program, Professor. We wish you the best with the book, The Case for Trump. Want everybody to check it out. Easy to get. Amazon and all that. And when my book comes out, I'm going to send you an advance copy, because you're a historian. I want you to be ruthless on me.
I'll come on and I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, but I want you to be ruthless when you come on
Well,
and say, "Oh, I guess." So that
I don't
would
think
be
I'm ever gratuitously ruthless, but I'm
no,
candid.
no. But you're a smart guy, and I want that kind of a debate. I think the folks would really like it too. All right, Professor. Thanks very much for coming on. We really appreciate it. You've asked, and MyPillow listened up. They're bringing you the most requested offer ever: the premium queen size MyPillow. Now only $19.98. It's made with patented adjustable fill to fit your exact individual needs. Regardless of your sleep position, it even helps keep your neck aligned and holds its shape all night long for the best sleep of your life. This sale even includes their 6-piece kitchen and bath towel sets, just $25 each. Their brand new mattress topper, as low as $69.98. And their famous MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $25, and a lot more. So please go to mypillow.com or call 800-869-0298. Use promo code BILL to get huge discounts on all MyPillow products, including the premium queen size MyPillow, only $19.98. That's the lowest price ever. Don't delay. Order today. All right, let's go to immigration, because the Democrats are trying to turn this around, saying that the Biden-Harris administration was right on the case. Despite the open border, despite more than 10 million undocumented migrants coming into this country, they were on it. And that they introduced a great bill that would stop all the madness. They did this 3.5 years after the madness began, but Kamala's going, no, we're on it. And Trump is the guy who derailed it. Roll the tape.
Our administration worked on the most significant border security bill in decades. Some of the most conservative Republicans in Washington, D.C. supported the bill. Even the Border Patrol endorsed it. It was all set to pass. But at the last minute, Trump directed his allies in the Senate to vote it down.
Okay, now all of what she said is true except for the most significant border security bill. There was no security in the bill. None. I read the bill. I never would have voted for the bill, and I want to solve the problem. I'm not playing politics with this. So the bill would have allocated hundreds of billions of dollars more money, basically to set up a bigger bureaucracy down there. More judges, more places for the migrants to go, more food, more clothing. But it did nothing to stop the millions of people trying to get in here. No wall, no penalties. If you're caught crossing the border illegally, no penalties, nothing. Why would you vote for a bill like that? So anyway, the Democrats are trying to turn this around. And some Americans will believe it, I guess, but it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And I'll prove my point now. So the Biden administration has tightened up asylum rules, okay? And that's why the amount of people has dropped trying to get in here, but that's not the primary reason. The primary reason is 120 degrees down there, okay? But the Biden administration has tightened up the rules. So Border Patrol agents can send people back quicker. But in association with that, the Biden administration has expanded areas where migrants can apply for asylum. Okay, it's not just ports of entry. Now it's all across. It's much easier. And then they're letting them in while their cases are adjudicated. So what do you think's going to happen? This is a ruse, a big, big ruse. And it's obviously a vulnerability for Kamala Harris trying to turn it around. Question is, will it work? Joining us now from Long Island, New York, is Elena Shetsova, who is an immigration attorney from Belarus. And she came to the United States got her law degree, and now represents immigrants, represents migrants, okay? So that's why we wanted to speak with her. Number one, have I reported this accurately in your opinion, counselor?
For the most part, we do have certain points in existing rules that would cover some points that you made. For example, we do already have civil penalties for those who enter the border illegally. The trouble is they're not enforced. Also, with regard to asylum, ability to seek asylum, it's always been the case, at least from the 1980s, that the person is entitled to ask for asylum in the United States, regardless of their manner of entry, whether they're entering at the point of entry or what we call now between the president.
Okay, now you know this area as well as anybody because you do this for a living, and people come to you and they're trying to get here legally. I would assume that your practice is trying to do this legally. But you know that in Venezuela, a third of the population has left that country, most of whom have tried to get to the United States. And now Maduro, the president there, won't accept anybody being deported back to Venezuela. So once the Venezuelans get here, and there are plenty of them on Long Island, okay, they got to stay here because their country won't take them back. Biden and Harris didn't do anything to temper that, did they?
No. In fact, during the Biden administration, they established a new program making it easier for people from Venezuela.
Making it easier. So all of this is just propaganda from Kamala Harris blaming Trump for this, we were going to go and solve this problem. If this bill had passed, that wouldn't have solved the problem at all, in my opinion. Am I wrong?
I would disagree to some extent, because I do believe that the bill is calling for increased funding at the border, and I think that's something that I personally supporting. I believe that increased funding would allow to at least partially to address the problem. The border needs more agents. I know that we have a view of more bureaucracy, but
look, we had under Trump, and I'm not promoting Trump and his campaign, but there was a Remain in Mexico policy where you could apply for asylum, you could apply for whatever you wanted to apply for, but you had to wait there until your case was adjudicated. That largely worked, correct?
I would disagree from my point of view. The trouble was that if you are remaining in Mexico, you wouldn't be able to have the same access to justice as when you are in the United States. And that was
Counselor, we don't have the resources to do the justice that you would like for 50 million people all over the world. You can't do it.
Perhaps, but we can improve the system that we have. So at least we can address and help most of those people.
But you know that most of the people in the world in distress want to come here. And if you allow them to come here, to wait until it takes 5 years now to adjudicate some of these asylum claims. You're just overrunning the country with people who can't support themselves. Look at New York City. Look at all the other cities going bankrupt because of this. The Remain in Mexico policy eliminated all of that. Last word.
Correct. But it's only because the immigration laws were not improved in the past 30 to 40 years. If we have an immigration reform, comprehensive immigration reform, that would call for expedited employment authorizations, it would call for independent immigration judges, it would call for...
You can't do it. There aren't enough judges in the world. There just aren't. The numbers are staggering. And that is the national security problem we have. Counselor, we wish you the best. Thank you for coming on and debating. Nice to see you. Thank you. All right, customs officers in Arizona is another part of this. Made the largest fentanyl seizure in the state's history. 4 million fentanyl pills. 4 million. One can kill you. And hundreds of thousands of people have died under the Biden administration's open border policy because it's easy to smuggle drugs into the United States because all the Border Patrol is worried about, not worried, but preoccupied with all of the migrants coming in. They can't do both. Can't do drug enforcement and expedite all these asylum claims. It's impossible. So the narcotics are pouring in here, and that's another open border problem here. Now, if I'm interviewing Kamala Harris, which has never in a million years happened because she'd break down and cry during the interview. She couldn't answer any of my questions because I'm fact-based here. She can't answer them. All right? But I say to you, Ms. Vice President, does that mean anything to you? That hundreds of thousands of people have died because there's dangerous narcotics like fentanyl are so plentiful? And the numbers have gone up since you and Joe Biden have been in office? I think it's what, 300-400% increase? Crazy. Everything is expensive these days, you know that. The government is printing trillions of dollars and consumer prices higher than ever. If the government continues its printing and spending, the dollar could continue its free fall and lose its coveted role as the world reserve currency. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But there are a few things you can do right now. American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your money, your retirement, your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. Start with a short phone call, and they can have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your 401k or IRA. So please call or text them right now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, that's 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. As students head back to the classroom, many families are reevaluating where their children really are in the education field. Parents and students alike are questioning whether their current educational environment truly supports their values. If this resonates with you, the Herzog Foundation is here to help. Discover a wealth of resources for transitioning from public schools to Christian or even homeschool. The Herzog Foundation is your go-to guide for finding the right fit for your child's educational journey. The Lion, the Herzog Foundation's award-winning online publication, is a beacon of truth in a complex educational landscape. It keeps you informed with timely and reliable updates on education, parenting, and understanding what's happening in public schools today. Equip your family with knowledge and support with daily and weekly newsletters by signing up at readlion.com/bill. Ukraine. Okay. There's a subset of viewers to the No Spin News and premium concierge members to BillO'Reilly.com who don't want any part of Ukraine. They don't think we should be there. They don't think anything like that. I respect that. I feel differently, and I've made a pretty strong case. So now we hear that the Ukrainian army has conquered, occupied, whatever word you want, about 400 miles of Russia itself, Russian territory. So the infantry of Ukraine kind of march across the border and say, okay, here we are. And according to them, and you got to take all of this skeptically, the Russian army broke and ran away. Possible, because they're not, the conscripts are taken out of prisons in Russia. I mean, they're not top of the line troops. So now Ukrainian soldiers are occupying a part of Russia. That's a fact. How much? We don't know. So this is another embarrassment for Putin, who's already lost, killed and wounded, about 500,000 in this insane invasion that gets him nowhere. Okay, nowhere. And so I believe Putin is now wants out. If Trump gets elected in November, there will be a deal, I say, within 2 weeks. Ceasefire. And then negotiation. You know what the game is. That's what I believe will happen. If Trump loses, it's going to be more complicated. Okay? Putin wants Trump to win because they have some kind of, I don't know what they have. You know, my conversation is private with President Trump. I've asked him a number of times, what's with the Putin? He won't tell me. Something there, but I don't know what it is. I don't get it. Anyway, so Putin, another embarrassment. And there you go. Smart life. So we're looking out for you. And here's the pen right here. You got to get the pen and paper now, all right? Because I'm going to give you a good tip. It's going to save you some money. So one of the keys for your economic life is what you buy. Obviously, right? You have money and you have freedom to buy what you want. In other countries, you don't have that freedom. But here we do. Now, the most important thing that you buy for yourself and your family is food, because you have to have food. And food prices have rocketed under Biden. We all know that. Now, Kamala will blame Trump for that, but that's insane and a lie. Okay, so we have investigated how to cut down you spending money on food, clothing, other things that you have to have. And we went to a one poll report. So 71% of shoppers are now searching for bargains more than ever before. 71%. And they spend an hour a week online looking for coupons and comparing prices. But we're going to cut through that for you. There are two websites that you should go to that will help you be a savvy shopper. First one is Rakuten. Rakuten. R as in Robert, A-K-U-T-E-N. Okay? So they help you find coupons for what you need, what you want, and they compare prices in the various stores. So Walmart to Kmart to Home Depot, wherever it may be. Okay? And the other one is Honey, like the bee thing, Honey. And they do pretty much the same thing. Now, Sierra News is a source of this information. And we believe it's good information. So, smart life. You want to save money, significant money, you got to do research now. You just can't walk into the grocery store or the clothing store or the sneaker store or any of that. You can't. You've got to search because a lot of these purchases are made online. You can buy all your food online. Was it Peapod and this kind of stuff? You can buy everything you want. They'll deliver it to your house. Don't even have to go to the store anymore. But you need to know what a fair price is. So once again, Rakuten and Honey. Let me know if you guys check it out. Let me know if you like it or not, okay? Because I don't even know how to turn my computer on. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.